Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The opening ceremony will begin shortly. Thank you. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Hanafi Sakri, Senior Director of Industry Development, Ministry of International Trade and Industry, MITI, Datuk Lim Kok Boon, President of Malaysian Plastics Manufacturers Association, MPMA, Mr. Eddie Fong, Chairman of MPMA PLASTECH MONTH 2021 and Secretary General of MPMA, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and salam sejahtera. Welcome to the opening ceremony of the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021. The MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021, with its theme, Staying Relevant, the Power of Technology, is brought to you by MPMA with the generous support of sponsors from the Malaysian plastics industry. Please allow me to thank each and every one of them. Platinum sponsor, Monitor ERP System. Gold sponsors, PT Bob's Jakarta, Milliken Asia Private Limited, NGR Malaysia Sdn Bhd, Petronas Chemicals Group Berhad, Reifenhauser Blown Firm GmbH, and Win Muller and Holscher Asia Pacific Company Limited. Silver sponsors, Arbuk Sdn Bhd, Nord Mechanica SPA, and Cispro Software Malaysia Sdn Bhd. Bronze sponsors, Autodesk Malaysia, Van Meyer Specialties Malaysia PLT, Borush Private Limited, Husky Injection Molding Systems Malaysia Sdn Bhd, Rickerman Malaysia Sdn Bhd, Sigma Soft Sdn Bhd, and Torre Plastics Malaysia Sdn Bhd, and other sponsor, Kryberg TPE Technology Malaysia Sdn Bhd. Thank you once again to all sponsors for making the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021 a reality. It now gives me great pleasure to invite the President of MPMA to deliver his address. Datuk Lim Kok Boon is the President of MPMA and has served as the President since year 2006. Before assuming the presidency, he had also served as the Vice President from 2004 to 2006. Datuk Lim, please.
Thank you, Crystal. Good afternoon. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Hanafi Sakri, Senior Director, Industrial Development, Ministry of International Trade and Industry, or MITI, Mr. Niloy Banerjee, United Nations Development Programme, or UNDP, Resident Representative for Malaysia, Singapore, and Brunei Darussalam, Mr. Eddie Fong, Chairman of the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021 Organizing Committee, honorable speakers, distinguished guests, members of MPMA, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'm delighted to see all of you this afternoon, and my sincere thanks to all of you for joining us at the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021 virtual opening ceremony. In particular, I wish to express my sincere thanks and appreciation to Yang Berbahagia Datuk Hanafi for taking the time to officiate the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021 despite his very busy schedule. For your information, today is a big day and in fact a very busy day for MITI, as the Anugerah Kecemerlangan Industry 2020 or AKI event will be held this evening, where the Prime Minister of Malaysia together with the Minister of MITI will be in attendance. We are therefore grateful that Dr. Hanafi is able to squeeze in the time and find the time to join us this afternoon. Thank you very much, Dr. Hanafi. We are also delighted that Mr. Niloy Banerjee is able to join us today. Mr. Banerjee and the UNDP have given MPMA lots of support in our joint sustainability programs, and we are therefore indeed grateful to Mr. Banerjee for this collaboration. This is the first time MPMA is hosting a virtual conference. Over the 9 days of this event, more than 40 topics will be presented by local and international speakers. We are pleased to announce that more than 2,400 registrations have been received to participate in the various presentations that will take place during this event. The level of participation is expected to increase as we see more registration coming in by the hour. MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021 brings together thought leaders, innovators, researchers, technical experts, and the plastic-related material and machine community to build a better and more advanced plastics industry in Malaysia. This is indeed a great opportunity for all of us here today to exchange views, gain insights, and explore new areas of technology, as well as look at how we can transform technological advances to revolutionize the industry. The conference will focus on 6 main topics, which will include smart manufacturing, flexible packaging, molding updates, material technology, circular economy, and climate change, as well as the recycling trends and technologies. The plastic industry is an innovative and fast-moving sector where we see new materials and processing technologies being continuously developed every year to improve production efficiency, enhance product performance and quality, as well as meet the ever-changing needs of the market. Keeping abreast with the latest technological development is therefore a very important key factor to sustain our competitiveness in the market. Our first webinar, which starts immediately after the opening ceremony, is entitled Digital Transformation of SMEs. Indeed, digital manufacturing operational management helps to improve and increase the efficiency and flexibility of manufacturing processes and reduce the cost of compliance and consumer safety risks. Digital manufacturing is therefore an important process within the scope of Industry 4.0, or more popularly known as I 4.0. We are therefore glad to witness that more and more small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, in the plastic manufacturing sector in Malaysia moving towards and adopting I 4.0. We strongly encourage our members to continue investing in innovative technologies and processes to move up the value chain and stay ahead of the curve. However, we understand that the purchase of the necessary machinery and equipment requires huge capital investments. And unfortunately, many SMEs do not have the financial capacity or the capability to do so. The government has indeed been giving support to the manufacturing sector by providing the reinvestment allowance or RA tax incentive to facilitate the expansion plans of companies in this sector. The RA has proven to be a very effective tax incentive, but unfortunately, it has a limited claimable period of only up to 15 years. This means that companies that had grown from the initial small size would have exhausted the 15 years claimable period at a time when they need the incentive most, as they are about to scale up to the next level. MPMA had over the years been appealing to the government to extend the RA claimable period. Indeed, in 2015, the government introduced a special RA for year assessment 2016 to 2018. And in October 2019, the government further extended the RA for year assessment 2020 to 2022. We were worried that 2022 is looming ahead of us and that there may not be any extension. We are therefore very grateful that the government has, at the latest budget 2022, further extended the RA for another 2 years to YA 2024 for companies where the RA have expired. We are very delighted with this further extension, but we would like to appeal to the government to extend the RA with no time limit, because there is always the continuous need to continuously invest in the latest in technology for the manufacturing sector. Another key element in I 4.0 is automation, process automation. Automation helps the plastic industry and the manufacturing sector to reduce the dependence on manpower, particularly the unskilled and semi-skilled foreign workers, as well as increasing the company's efficiency and improving on productivity. For example, some plastic companies that had adopted automation had successfully reduced the manpower requirements by a massive 80% and improved the yields by between 300 to 400%. The Smart Automation Grant, or the SAG, has proven to be an effective financial aid to assist the government, the manufacturing companies to adopt automation. The SAG that was introduced in December 2022 was fully taken up only within 6 months, clearly proving the need for such a matching grant. The latest budget 2022 has allocated a further 100 million ringgit for the SAG that is projected to benefit about 200 companies. While this is an encouraging amount, we are of the view that more is needed, as 200 companies among the thousands of SME companies vying for the part of this grant will see it being snapped up in no time again. We therefore hope that the government will continue to assist SMEs expedite the automation process by allocating additional funds for the SAG. In addition to having the right technology and the automation system in place, we also need the human capital to support new operations. Workers must be trained with the specific skill sets to handle the new technology. Machines and equipment can be purchased and installed within days, but the reality is that training workers with the right skills require long-term planning and implementation. Therefore, there's a need for the industry-wide training that would allow an existing worker or a new entrant to the industry to be trained on a structured basis rather than on a help basis, so that we can develop them from an apprentice to the industry expert. We would therefore be grateful if the government could support MPMA with the necessary funds to undertake such industry-focused training that is specific to the requirements of the plastic industry. While promoting the growth of plastic industry, we also fully understand the concerns about the possible impact of plastics on the environment. We need to therefore strike a balance between economic growth and environment protection. The plastic industry is embarking on a circular economy approach to encouraging better waste collection and management practices, advancing the plastic recycling sector, and exploring circular recyclable product design. Moving one step ahead, the industry is also looking into understanding the relationship between plastics and the climate change, and how the industry can play a positive role in achieving the country's net zero aspiration. Do tune in to the two webinars that will take place on the 25th and the 30th of November to understand more on the industry's sustainability directions moving forward. I would like to briefly report on the performance of the plastic industry. For the first 8 months from January to August of this year, according to the data published by the Department of Statistics, total sales of manufactured plastic products amounted to 38.68 billion ringgit, which represents a commendable 23% increase compared to the 31.44 billion recorded during the first 8 months of 2020. Exports of plastic products also increased, and it increased by 21% from 8.63 billion ringgit recorded during the previous corresponding period to 10.43 billion currently. The strong increase was due to the reopening of most of the market sectors, both local as well as the international market. The plastic industry managed to record a strong rebound during this pandemic period because it's a key supporting sector to the essential economic sectors, particularly the electrical and electronic sector, as well as the food and beverage sectors. During the Movement Control Order, or the MCO period, companies within the plastic industries that serve the supply chain of the essential sectors were allowed to operate to ensure the supplies to these sectors would not be interrupted. We'd like to thank the government, especially MITI, for allowing these companies to continue to operate during the MCO periods. The prospect for further recovery looks promising, thanks to the government's untiring efforts to expedite the national COVID-19 vaccination program. With the high vaccination rates among the employees, the plastic industry and most of the economic sectors are now able to operate at the maximum capacity. Once again, we'd like to record our sincere thanks and appreciation to MITI for assisting the plastic industry to accelerate the vaccination program through the program Imunisasi Industri COVID-19 Kerjasama Awam Swasta, or more popularly known as PIKAS. In conclusion, I wish to express my sincere thanks to all our sponsors for their generous contribution and support. I'm pleased to announce that we have received a total of 113,000 ringgit from 18 sponsors. Because of your financial contributions, we are able to offer the conference without any charge to the members of MPMA, to government representative, to our overseas counterparts, namely the Plastic Association for the Asia Plastic Forum and the Global Plastic Alliance, as well as to NGOs and the academia. I know that Crystal MC has read out the list of the sponsors, but I would like to read them out again in appreciation for their very kind and generous support. Cryberg TPE Technology for the contribution of 500 ringgit. We have 7 bronze sponsors who have contributed 2,500 ringgit each, and they are Autodesk Malaysia, Ben Mayer Specialist Malaysia, Burish Private Limited, Husky Injection Molding Systems Malaysia Sdn Bhd, Recommend Malaysia Sdn Bhd, Sigma Soft Sdn Bhd, Torre Plastics Malaysia Sdn Bhd, and we have three silver sponsors who have supported us with 5,000 ringgit each, and they are Abert Sdn Bhd, Not Mechanical SPA, CISPO Software Malaysia Sdn Bhd. We have 6 gold sponsors who have contributed 10,000 ringgit each, and they are PT Box Jakarta, Milliken Asia Private Limited, Petronas Chemicals Group Berhad, Reifenhauser Bloemflin GmbH, Windmolen and Holscher Asia Pacific Company Limited, NGR Malaysia Limited. And finally, we have our platinum sponsor, namely Monitor ERP, for their very generous contribution of 20,000 ringgit. Also wish to thank the organizing committee for the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021, which is led by our Secretary General, Mr. Eddie Fong. Thank you for your time and effort in making this conference a huge success. My sincere wish is that MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021 will provide members of MPMA with the latest in technology and inspire these companies to forge ahead and reshape their strategies to remain competitive for the years ahead. And on this note, I wish to thank all of you for being with us at this MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Datuk Lim. We are now pleased to invite our guest of honor to deliver his keynote address and to officiate the opening of the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021. Our guest of honor is Yang Berbahagia, Datuk Hanafi Sakri, who is the Senior Director of the Industrial Development Division at the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, a position he held since September 2020. He has served for more than 26 years in various government departments and divisions. Yang Berbahagia, Datuk Hanafi, please.
Thank you, MC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, allow me to record my appreciation to Yang Berbahagia Datuk Lim Kok Boon, President of Malaysian Plastic Manufacturer Association, MPMA, for the well-delivered and insightful welcoming remarks. I also wish to thank MPMA for inviting me to give the keynote address at the first virtual technology month of MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate MPMA for organizing this conference, which will highlight the latest development in the plastic industry, covering various topics such as circular economy, recycling trend and technologies, and smart manufacturing. I believe the participants will benefit from the many programs outlined throughout the one-month event and gain insight from the perspective of leading plastic technology experts from local as well as overseas. The theme, staying relevant, the power of technology, is pertinent as the country may progress into the recovery phase from the COVID-19 pandemic. In this note, I would like to underscore the importance of the plastic industry in the manufacturing supply chain, as evident by the approval to operate during the pandemic critical period. I believe now that almost all economic sectors are allowed to operate. The operations are now back on schedule and things have steadily returned to normalcy for the plastic industry. Ladies and gentlemen, in the second quarter of 2021, the manufacturing sector contributed 81.7 billion ringgit or 24.3% of the national GDP, an improved performance compared with 64.5 billion ringgit or 22.3% share during the same period in 2020. The steady performance of the manufacturing sector was driven by petroleum, chemical, rubber and plastic products, followed by the E&E sector. The chemical subsector, which include refined petroleum, chemical and petrochemical, and plastic products, collectively contribute 6.1% to the manufacturing GDP in Q2 2021, with plastic product alone contributing 0.8%. The sector also employs approximately 300,000 workers, or 13.5% of the 2.23 million employment in the manufacturing sector during the same period. Based on the sector contribution to the country, not only in terms of value, but also in supporting the other subsector across the manufacturing value chain, MITI is positioning the chemical sector, including plastic and composite, towards producing higher value-added and market-driven products, which will in turn drive the growth and development of other subsectors in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of the conference is also aligned with the objective under National Policy on Industry 4.0, or usually we call as Industry Forward, which aims to transform the manufacturing industry and its related services to be smarter, structured, and more efficient through the adoption of Industry 4.0 technologies. It is imperative for Malaysia to transform or leapfrog at the accelerated pace and embrace Industry 4.0 as a critical cornerstone to propel and sustain future manufacturing competitiveness. I take this opportunity to encourage the plastic industry players to work with MITI and agencies in undertaking the many programs and initiatives under the Industry 4 policy to enhance your production capabilities and increase productivity. I would like also to call upon the industry to keep pace with the global trend on sustainability and move towards a circular plastic economy. As we know, the impact of plastic waste and production on the environment, coupled with consumption of plastic may have contributed to the high carbon footprint. As such, the plastic consumption and production system need to be more circular, efficient, and sustainable for a longer use, and ready for use and recycling to recreate the value until end of life. Another aspect for the industry must be aware is the environment, social, and governance, or ESG principle, which has become an increasingly important criterion for inclusive, equitable, and sustainable growth. Foreign investors are increasingly considering the ESG factor in their investment decision. As such, it is critical for industry stakeholders to find ways to improve their ESG practices to score investment opportunities and sustain businesses in line with these future trends. For your information, MITI is currently structuring and streamlining the national investment policy through the National Investment Aspiration Framework. And one of the key principles in the NIA framework is ESG. For the benefit of all attending today, the NIA aims to create high-value jobs, extend domestic linkages, develop new and existing clusters, and improve inclusivity alongside the ESG to propel long-term growth for Malaysia through the flow of sustainable quality investment and ultimately becoming the epicenter for economy and business activity in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end, let me assure you of MITI continuous commitment to support the industry in charting the way forward for Malaysia plastic industry growth. We value your contribution and continuous engagement in assisting the government in creating business-friendly and facilitative industrial and trade policies. Moving forward, I take this opportunity to urge you to equip yourself with the latest development and technological enhancement, either individually or collectively via MPMA. I wish everyone all the best and may the conference be a successful beginning for the similar opportunities in the future for plastic industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Hanafi. Ladies and gentlemen, the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021 is MPMA's first virtual conference, which will take place starting today till 2nd December 2021. To commemorate this special moment and to launch the conference, we will now play the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021 official video. Before we end the opening ceremony, I would like to request our VIPs and the organizing committee of MPMA PLASTECH Month to switch on your video for a group photograph. Pardon? All right, get ready. 3, 2, 1. One more, yeah? 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the opening ceremony. For participants of the first webinar session on digital transformation of SMEs right after this, please stay online and you may take a 1-minute break before the session starts. Those who are not joining the session may leave the call shortly. On behalf of the MPMA PLASTECH Month Organizing Committee, we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us this afternoon, and we look forward to see you at our webinar sessions. Thank you all and have a great day.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for staying back for our very first webinar under the MPMA PLASTECH Month 2021 entitled Digital Transformation of SMEs. Today, we have about 250 plus participants from the plastics industry and associate companies, government representatives, academia representatives from our partner associations under the Asia Plastics Forum and Global Plastics Alliance umbrella, non-government organizations and others. Thank you all for attending today's session. Before we begin, I would like to run through some of the rules of the webinar. So as you see on the screen, you will notice that we have muted and turned off the video of all participants. This is because we are using a conference platform on Zoom, and this is done to ensure no disruptions throughout the webinar. So participants may ask or pose questions related to the presentations in the chat box during the webinar, and the speakers will only answer these questions that are clearly written and based on the presentations. Please note that. So kindly refrain from marketing your goods and services in the chat box. It's a no-no. The chat box is only for queries related to the presentations. And MPMA, as the organizer, we reserve the right to remove participants who run afoul of the webinar etiquette. The MPMA PLASTECH Month would not be possible without the generous contributions from our sponsor companies. And these names of these companies were mentioned during the opening ceremony. I would just like to give special mention to our platinum sponsor, Monitor ERP Systems, for their contribution towards the event. We will now play Monitor ERP's corporate video. Thank you. Thank you, Monitor ERP System, and I believe Mr. Daniel Hackmark, who is the Managing Director of Monitor ERP Systems, is in this webinar. Thank you so much for your generous contribution. Now I would like to go to the webinar proper. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me introduce to you a very young moderator for today. His name is none other than Mr. Keith Tay. Keith is currently the Assistant Project Manager for CPI KL Sdn Bhd, a position he has held since July 2018. Keith's role in CPI KL Sdn Bhd is to drive Industry 4.0 adoption in the company, overseeing MIDA's Industry Forward and Smart Automation Grant applications, implementation of manufacturing execution systems, cloud computing, and application network infrastructure and security. Keith, I would now like to invite you to take over this session from me. Thank you, Keith.
Hi, thank you, Sujata. So good afternoon to all participants. So as Sujata has mentioned, I'm Keith from CPI KL. I am pleased to be your moderator for today. So today's session will be titled Digital Transformation for SMEs. Of course, we had our keynote speeches from our President of MPMA as well as the Senior Director, Dato' Hanafi Sakri from MITI. We also had the video launch of the PLASTECH Month. Without further ado, I would like to point out the schedule for the rest of today, which we'll start with a talk from 2:30 until 3:50. At 3:50, we have questions and answers open to all participants. So if you have any questions, please leave it in the question and answer box. We will get to it at the end of the session. Kicking off things, we would be having Mr. Lion Lau from the Hong Kong Productivity Council. Mr. Lion Lau is currently the Senior Consultant of Industry 4.0, Smart Manufacturing and Reindustrialization from the HKPC. He is the Fraunhofer IPT Certified Industry 4.0 Expert and Principal Advisor from Germany, the Center Manager of Digital and Reindustrialization Frame Hall, Hong Kong Industrial Drone Technology Center, HKIDTC, and the Invention Center of the Hatch. His role involves mainly in the Industry 4.0 Strategic Deployment Advisor at well-known public listed companies in Hong Kong. Moving on, we will have Mr. Muhammad Ali Haja from the Penang Skills Development Center, PSDC. He is the Chief Executive Officer at PSDC, the first tripartite industry-led skills and education center in Malaysia with more than 233 industrial members. Muhammad has broad experience in various industries from the electrical and electronics manufacturing sector, the telecommunications sector, the ICT sector, as well as with experience in corporate strategy and corporate finance. Our third speaker for today will be Mr. Ng Keng Ju. Mr. Ng is the Technical Director and the co-founder of Novatech Innovation Sdn Bhd. Novatech is a Malaysian registered company specializing in the design and development as well as supply of automated systems and solutions for the manufacturing industry, including automated systems using collaborative robots. Last but not least, we will have Mr. Chong, LJ Chong. He is the Senior Area Product Manager specializing in metrology, quality control operations. He has more than 10 years of working experience in the manufacturing sector. He has worked with various industries, including the plastic sector, to improve the productivity and quality control operations. He also has experience in both conventional measurement equipment as well as the next generation of metrology technology, such as even innovative solutions. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Lion Law to share his speech. Thank you.
Okay, I have the control. You can listen to me, right? Okay, so good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My friends from Malaysia, this is Lion Law, Senior Consultant of the Industry 4.0 Smart Manufacturing and the Reindustrializations in Hong Kong, from Hong Kong Productivity Council. And I'm also a Fraunhofer IPT certified Industry 4.0 expert and principal advisor from Germany. So most of them heard about the Industry 4.0 is come from Germany, and Fraunhofer is one of the Industry 4.0 developer in architect association in Germany to set up the framework and define the Industry 4.0 definitions. And 2 years ago, at 2019, I have delivered a sharing at Malaysia SME of the future conference for the topics of how to enable SMEs for a smart future to Malaysia's SME. I am appreciate again for Callum Chan, CEO from LH Plus, inviting me again to join the conference in Malaysia. Thank you, my friend. Okay, so back to the introduction. So I have some little bit introduction of the Hong Kong Productivity Council. Maybe most of all do not know the Hong Kong Productivity Council is, and we established 54 years in Hong Kong by law. And HKPC is a government subvented organization and named Research and Development Center in Hong Kong. We are supporting 90% of the technical project at industrial service and applications, 66% from SME kinds, and we encourage local procurement with 88% and use of the local developed technology. This year, we are growth to 800 staff with four offices located in the Greater Bay area in China. This is our game plan, and we have a 6 strategic development area, and we defined it for our Hong Kong Productivity Council's future 3 to 5 years, and we would have a fine tune on this campaign, but the topic of the development in Hong Kong, yes, will not be changed. First of all, maybe some of you heard about the reindustrialization of each country, And it means that we would execute the I 4.0 massively into every industry and build an advanced manufacturing to support some high value and value added product to manufacture in a small place and less worker production model. The second is the intelligent manufacturing. We offer a lot of a relocation and integrated solution to ASEAN country, to Equator-based area, or relocated back to the Hong Kong. And one of the things we keep in mind is smart and green living technology. This is more about the ESG and the green tech. We need to have more on the environmental protection. Also, HKPC another role is to build up the future skills and future talents, starting from STEM and education for school and the secondary and primary students. We also joined with the University of Hong Kong to build up a intelligent manufacturing bachelor degrees and launched in last year. And then the most important topic is related to today's topics is about digitalization and cybersecurity. We would like to use a digital transformation as a fundamental to accelerate the intelligent manufacturing development in every country and every place. And the last but not least, it is the SME and startup support. We have another division is about the funding. We are holding over 20 funding scheme, secretariat job, and assist governments to do the secretariat admin works. And we promote the funding to the SME and let them to use the funding to do the project for the upgrade, reindustrialization, intelligent manufacturing, and digital transformation, etc. And then at the bottom, you can see we also have a different center to accelerate our different technology. For example, the academy to train up the people, the inno space is to assist the startup, SME one is provided funding reach out program, and the hatch is about for the innovation, and the Dongguan, this Shenzhen office is to support the GBA companies. We have a 1 minute introduction video.
From past to present, we leverage on wisdom to elevate intelligent technologies for social advancement. We have always been at the forefront in terms of wisdom. In the era of Industry 4.0 and Enterprise 4.0, HKPC makes use of advanced technologies and innovative services to empower Hong Kong's productivity to new heights. The Hong Kong Productivity Council. Make smart smarter.
Okay, HKPC as one of the policy implementer from Hong Kong government and connected with the industry associations and SMEs. So we will listen at the voice of industry and convert the message to the Hong Kong government. And you can see the last years we have met about 100 and something organizations and companies and holding 83 meetings with different associations, and then we would ask them what the company or association need to support in any industry. So that's why we have the front end people to support the consultancy and development in to assist company to digital transformation and develop of the intelligent manufacturing. We have also a role to establish Hong Kong as an innovation hub. That's why we're working with the MIT Institute of Technology to set up an MIT Innovation Lodge in HKPC building. HKPC is focused on cultivating and innovate capacity of the different technology center and increasing the opportunities for students and faculties to participate in the innovation process and accelerating the path from idea to impact to help strengthen the region's innovation ecosystem. We have a strategy. We also have a strategic partnership with the Fraunhofer IPT Institute of Production Technology, Germany, on Industry 4.0 Smart Factory Build Up in HPC building. We show the demonstration of what is the future smart manufacturing like what, and then development on the Industry 4.0 maturity model for Hong Kong's industry. As further cooperation, we also work with the Invention Center Germany, a spin-off of Fraunhofer Institute to innovate in Industry 4.0, enabling technology and development of new solutions for SMEs. As 2020, we set up another center called AI and Robotics Center under InnoHK scheme called FLAIR with RWTH Aachen University in Germany, to open a channel for joining development resources on the fundamental research, and then also in AI and robotic cluster support the smart manufacturing development. We are now setting up a new automation lab with Tsinghua University in HPC2. So we built the international talent pool in Hong Kong and work with them together and accelerate the innovation happening in Hong Kong. HPC significantly created the industry awareness on Industry 4.0 since launch in 2015. I'm the business lead of Industry 4.0 and reindustrialization in Hong Kong, providing the innovation and technological consultancy and advisory for the company. And I'm responsible for assisting and providing the holistic strategy and led the company to recognize in the Industry 4.0 program offered by HPC and Fraunhofer. And I'm also the domain expertise on Industry 4.0 digitalization, industrial IoT, and then and connectivity, production machines, visualization, cybersecurity, smart data analytics, and industrial drone, machine learning, etc. The technology. So you can see that's the first Industry 4.0 production line in Hong Kong. We set up at 2016 to allow industry to visualize how a smart production happens and what is the benefit it can bring from the smart production line. At the same time, the I4.0 recognition program for Hong Kong was initiated to allow for a guided step-by-step approach and to transit from a traditional production line to a smart production line. As you can see, the Gasway, this company, I would have another example to let you know more on this. So we work with Fraunhofer Institute of Production Technology, Germany, with a lot of technology and a lot of service. So that's why they send their expert to stay in Hong Kong and work with the HPC together. And for the I4.0, actually, I have some little bit of recap or some summary for all of the audience. Because we would just see more on technology. Also, there is a more focused and important thing is how to generate the SME benefits. We can see the enablers, data sensor, HMI network. I think everyone should know that how to use it in your life or in your production. But you need to know that Industry 4.0 is not only the smart manufacturing or the production. It would cover the application to the product, to the service, innovations of process and logistics and production. And we would like to use those technology and smart applications and expand our smart manufacturing to a new business model. That's why we need to integrate it to the value chain and have a very comprehensive and instant data analytics or AIs to assist us to make the decision to achieve the increase of revenue and better the product quality and reliability and cost reduction. So this is the case of the first company to achieve the Industry 4.0 first level real-time information generation in 15 months. Okay, just select from the page. Okay, so you can see that this company, they just launched the annual report. This is a public listed company. You can see the control center. They are using a lot of dashboard to monitor their production in each process, from the production scheduling for the materials, arrival, or the sales order, and the real-time machines utilization and automation utilization on automations, quality checking, something like that. They have a lot of information on hand, and they use a lot of tools in IT actually. From nothing to now, they have all the real-time data. Net profit increased in 39% by reducing the manufacturing overhead. They reduce the times for communication, reduce the labor worker to do some waiting and long value-added jobs, something like that. So they already proven the Industry 4.0 can help them to increase the net profit and have a lot of benefit behind to implement the I 4.0. So what is the one eye? We call that the one eye is more about the visibility. Today, most of the company would still in the stage. You can see the -1. We call that the computerization. Even maybe they haven't. They still happen a ERP system or a shop floor management system or a planning system, or they do not have any automation, still have a labor intensive. So that's why the first step for them should be you can focus on the digitalization and the connectivity. And this both level is to build up the company's fundamentals capability to drive them and accelerate them to implement and deploy the Industry 4.0 to create a database decision capability. Actually, the result is that you can see the cursor is the last case, and they can drive their people to use the data for the operation. No more is paper, no more is a telephone call, no more is a direct command. They do not need to work at face-to-face. They can work at remotely and can handle the multitasking. And we also defined some of the I 4.0 solution applied it. And sorry, we also identified some I 4.0 simplified solution, and that included the fundamental technologies called the digitalization. You need to have a minimum and the capability to use of the system in multi-area. And the next step should be how to think about how to use the sensor and the input and how to connect them to gather the data automatically, not by human, not by people input. And also, you would through the industrial Internet of Things to connect your machine, connect your automation, connect your process to gather the real-time data. Those of the data was consolidated into a single platform and help you to do a lot of data analytics automatically, not by human, not by Excel. We are talking about using the platform to do the analytics automatically and feed you the real-time data, the real-time KPI, how it's doing, is it doing good, doing not good, your performance is achieved or missing. Anything is come by data and result by data. This is one of the digital manufacturing technology about the machine IoT, and we set up the pilot case around 200 machines together. And then you can see that from sensor visualize sensor condition to visualize adoption, and then the connectivity of network and analyze data. We do the 4 parts of the step, and we want to achieve that the real-time production performance KPI and can be analyzed. This is one of the use case that what data they collect from machine, and we set up the production data, including cycle time and production quantity, and then the machine data we get from the PLC of the injection machine. So you can see the dashboard and what happens right now, what's the config right now, and doing the pass is good quality or bad quality. So for the Industry 4.0, we bring most of the things to the Hong Kong, and we implemented the reindustrialization in Hong Kong in recent years. I would like to tell you more about how to accelerate the Industry 4.0 or reindustrialization in Hong Kong. First of all, you need to have a government support by funding, and then HPC as a I4.0 technology and talent grooming, and then the infrastructure and factory in Hong Kong is very important. So we build up the gold triangle to accelerate the reindustrialization in Hong Kong. Actually, we in Hong Kong, we will focus on the reindustrialization with 3 industry, including the food, health, and green. You know, the food, health, and green is supporting the citizens, supporting the people to have a smart life and better health. So that's why this is a very dominant industry to start from the reindustrialization. One of the example is that the company set up a smart manufacturing production line in Hong Kong. First of all, they need to think about how to make use of the land, because land is very expensive in Hong Kong, and manpower also. So we are focused on the KPI and set up the fully intelligent manufacturing at this manufacturing site. We call that the O. And maybe if you're interested to look at what is the O, and you can go to the HPC's YouTube channel, and you can see the movie. The second one is a very traditional product. It's about the China medicine. We do the fully automated intelligence packaging system for GMP products to replace the traditional works in packaging. So they reduce the labor and enhance the core quality, and then increase a lot of our output. This page, I would like to recall that because 2 years ago, I have suggest how to deploy the strategy, deployment strategy for the Malaysia Industry 4.0. And you can see the 4 pillars, and I would like to recall a little bit and try to have some examples and let you know what should be done and successful in Hong Kong. First of all, the Hong Kong Intelligent Manufacturing, we set up in 2017. We opened to public, and we launched all the technology to the public. And you can see that the production line, the whole intelligent production line, have over 30 vendor solutions in there and totally integrated. If you are interested, you can go to our virtual tour, or maybe you can search the HPC 360.org. We can look at the virtual tour in our digital factory. The second, the industry pioneer from the SME. And we need to build up a lot of use case and over 20 industry sector and over 100 companies, each from the very traditional manufacturing, how to transform through digital transformation or the smart factory upgrade. So that's why we have a lot of use case and drive the industry to upgrade their manufacturing to smart manufacturing. The third one is the development of the local solution. I think Malaysia should have a lot of IT vendors and technology vendors. They can bring you a lot of technology. I'm encouraged most of the country and most of the district, they use their own built or home growth technology vendor, and this would make you success more quickly and deploy more efficient. Finally, it's about the development of the digital talent. HAPC also have an academy for the future skill training. We offer a lot of training and technology transfer to the SME during the project implementation or the official training. Also, we groom the small guy and from the secondary school and primary school to learn from learn new technology and involve them into some programming for robot activities or some events. Okay, this is my end of the presentation. So if you have any question, you can drop me some question, and then I would answer you at the last session. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lion, for sharing your experience with Hong Kong SMEs. As an SME myself, I find it very fruitful, and I hope all the participants also, can take any knowledge they have gained from the session. So if any participants have any questions, please feel free to leave in the chat box below. We are, just to note, we are running slightly behind schedule. So our 2:50 p.m. session will be starting about now. Next will be Mr. Muhammad Ali Hajah Maidin from PSDC, who will go through with us on the steps before, process, and technology in productivity journey. Thank you. Please take it away.
Thank you. 10 minutes is 20 minutes is rather fast. Without going into the further explanation and details, I will just go into some of the key items. First of all, thank you to the organizer to invite PSDC for this event. If you can see the titles that what I had put it in, is mentioned about steps before, process, and technology in productivity journey, right? Even though this event is talking about Industry 4.0, I will explain how we justify that. So I have four things to share today, for agenda, but I will just jumble it around and then explain it in a simplified way so that we should be able to finish within 20 minutes. Okay, let's all of us ask questions, right? Why we do technology transformation in our organizations? Right. Basically, any technology transformation that we do in our organization is towards increasing high productivity and efficiency. Just to remind everyone that PSDC started looking into Industry 4.0 journey in 2016 by demand, focusing on addressing the issue of small and medium industries, which is if multinational company invest a lot of technology in their productions, how should the SMEs handle it? Because changes in big companies, large companies, right, only can be materialized if their supply chain also should be able to reciprocate the change. So it should be the whole ecosystem. Then second thing, companies do productivity and efficiency activities, they do transform, is to make a lot of profit. So if these two element is not the key objective of any company, then they should not look into the technology transformations to increase their productivity and efficiencies. Okay, let me talk about how we see Industry 4.0 now, since we start the journey back in year 2016. During the time, we are talking about what technologies that involve, the technology pillars, how you can implement these technology pillars into the operation and so on. But the ultimate objective of this Industry 4.0 is to make company to be more productive and efficient and fundamentally make more profit. So Industry 4.0 is a tools. And the outcome of using these tool, processes, technology is to increase productivity and efficiencies. Let me, look into any technology transformation, looking into Industry 4.0 to increase productivity and efficiencies should address the, demand of customers. If customer need parts to be delivered a certain time frame, and then companies should look into it. So, assuming now after the pandemic, we can see order increases. Generally, whenever there is a huge PO has been cut to the SMEs, right? Usually this will surplus their installed capacity. So the SMEs will look into how to look into additional capacity or expansions. So if any activities that SME does that to achieve increase of productivity or increase of product, right? Increasing the revenue by increasing the output, and at the same time, if the cost increases, then it's basically there's a not less productivity on that kind of meeting customer demand. The right approach should be when revenue increases, demand, due to demand increase, the cost either should stay or increase slightly or reduce in better case. This is where the element of productivity and efficiency will come by. And to achieve it, we need tools such as Industry 4.0, right? And during this particular period, addressing, the demand of the customer by looking into the processes and technology, right, to make sure we meet the customer demand, SMEs and many companies will do whatever necessary to achieve that goal. But during this rush, something will be missed out. The most important factor in technology transformations will be missed out. What is that? So in structured transformation, programs, right, to increase productivity and efficiency using Industry 4.0, there are three components: people, process, and technology. So due to this rapid, demand, in most cases, company will jump into, processes and mainly in technology, right, in order to achieve their goal. During this period, the most important factor that drive processes and technology will be in back burner. Whereas, what will happen? The people will be in the aspect of delivering, the process and technology, whereas they should be driving that. So why I did mention, about that? I'm going to skip, some of the slides on Industry 4.0, right? This is because whenever, industry implement technology, right? And then they put the process and technology earlier than people, then for further expansions, they will face a problem because the people who are supposed to drive, right, will be delivering whichever technology that they have to use in order, to meet. So there is no cohesiveness in this manner. Before we go detail on this particular one, I would like to touch base in the area approach that PSDC recommend, to the industries, especially in Malaysia. Whenever you want to go for Industry 4.0, right, you'd not necessarily to have state-of-art equipment invested in your organization. As we can see some of the examples earlier, you can take whatever equipments that you have now, and you can do the first step of productivity and efficiency improvement, which is, putting in the technology of Industry 4.0. Like as you can see on this chart, you have IoT, you have integrations, you have simulation and augmented reality, you have cloud, you have data analytics, you have cybersecurity. You can put a lot of technology into the old machines and retrofit it and upgrade. But your fundamental goal is actually make the machine more intelligent, and you achieve the goal, which is the goal. You can take older machines and then you can put technology and you can start measure OEE, overall equipment efficiency. What's the benefit of overall equipment efficiencies? There are three components, right? Availability, performance, and also quality. If you understand this pretty well and you can in real time measure this item, you can look into moving your operations from preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance. What will happen when you move your operations or your machines to be predictive maintenance? You will avoid rejects fundamentally. When you avoid rejects, which is caused by material or the machine itself, right? You save costs, your productivity increases, your output increases, your yield increases, and fundamentally you will make money. These are the concept of what we are promoting in 2016. So most of the companies who came to PSDC will always looking to how to look at their current operations, putting in technology, and then getting in higher output and profitability. Second example that what we're going to share is actually a simple, one of that companies that, do a canned food, right? So in this particular aspect, as you can see, if you just put in automations, cutting up the head and tail, whenever the fish size changes, you either over reject, you cut more, which is mean you create wastages, or if you cut less, you have to do rework. Both of these cost company, time and money. But if you put a little bit of, intelligence to it, you put, pillars of Industry 4.0, you make, the automated cutter that you have in your company a little bit more smart, where it recognizes the fish and it understands from where the head and tail starts, and it just take up that. This what we call productivity and efficiencies. And fundamentally, the how we recommend to most of the industries before they embark on any Industry 4.0, projects or program, identify your pain point, right? Look into your losses due to that pain point, and then come with the, projects by utilizing the, technology pillars of Industry 4.0, which is really widely available at the moment. And going back to the slides that I skipped earlier, in our definition, of Industry 4.0, right? Industry 4.0 is actually, it's a trend of technology focusing on current manufacturing and services to meet an excessive customer demand, which lead to mass customization. What this tells us is basically perfections, because moving forward, every single customer, they want things toward, their own, very specific. This is where automotive industry is moving to this, footwear is moving to this, apparel moving to this. Sooner or later, every single industry will move into this customization. And every single industries, in our opinion, already have their operations, they already have their IT, and soon they're going to have their finance, fintech portion into it. So in our understanding is actually take these important components, OT, IT, and fintech, you converge it where it needs. You do the conversion by implementing the technology pillars of Industry 4.0 to achieve mass customization and higher productivity and efficiencies. This is what, we try to correlate that, Industry 4.0 is, always about, having better productivity and efficiency. Okay, let's come back to this. Whenever company embark on the Industry 4.0 project to meet rapid customer demand, right? They will immediately jump into process and technology. And as I mentioned that, when this happens, a lot of other things happen. Whenever the companies, want to go further expansions, in highly likely, in many cases, they will see challenges into that. Because why? The implementation is put to address the challenges during the time, because they focus on process and technology. But if they focus on the people, to drive this, the people should be able to understand, the process much more better and choose the right technology to implement. So the people drive it, people don't deliver it. So this is something that all of us need to take. Second aspect that we are actually seeing on this, topic, many small and medium companies, in a sense that, they are having a challenges, in connecting their primary metrics and the secondary metrics. Every single manufacturing company will have these both, and they know about it, right? The senior management will look into, the primary metric usually comes into the financial terms, and then people in the ground in operation will look into all the secondary metric, which is the day-to-day thing, yield, machine, process, cycle time, and so on. So the challenge is actually, whenever the primary metric and secondary metric is not connected seamlessly, right? People should not be able to decide what will be the right process and technology, because two different group of people in a company will be looking into two different objective and goal to achieve. In many multinational and well-established companies, big companies around the world, we can observe that their primary metric and secondary metric are seamlessly connected. So this is one of the reasons that they can see immediately the installed capacity and how they can increase the additional capacity, because everything is connected. It's not just about improving the processes and getting in more equipment. It's about increasing efficiencies to achieve that. So we observe that in multinational companies and big companies. We hope that SME companies, even though some of them may already have, put into educate their people and their people so that they understand their primary metric and the secondary metric are seamlessly connected. They understand the detail about it. So any project that they're going to embark to improve their productivity and efficiencies, should be able to achieve the goal. Okay, so what happened? My last few slides. If industry doesn't focus on people first, they should be able to meet customer demand. They should be able to produce part. They should be able to ship the part. But what will happen? They will have difficulties to expand. If anything happens, projects will be driven by vendors and suppliers. Changes of niche system, whatever technology they put in, will be only for short-term period. Daily firefighting, quality problems, and fundamentally, the margin will be affected, because growth with revenue will also have an impact on growth of resources, right? And also the cost, which is actually not what productivity and efficiency want, and it is not what Industry 4.0 is supposed to solve. Okay, in conclusions, right, what I would like to share for any companies that would like to embark on Industry 4.0 journey, put your objective correct. Whatever project that you're gonna do in your company, to modernize it, to should be in line with increasing your productivity and efficiency. That is your goal. Industry 4.0, the tools, right, comes with it, will enable that. Whatever things you already have in a production line that running before you put these tools, still valid. You just need to find a way, by converging the existing IT and also OT to increase the efficiencies. So that's about it. What I would like to share, how a journey in a company should look at, and we will highly recommend that before company look into process and technology, focus on the people first. And we have overwhelming data from many of companies that we did engage earlier, that if they do this correctly, they should be able to have a better technology transformation towards company-wide. So that's about it, my sharing. I'll pass back to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Ali Hajjah, for the very insightful sharing on developing the people first and having the right strategy in place. Moving on to our next speaker, I invite Mr. Ng Keng Ju from Novatech, who will share with us smart manufacturing using collaborative robots. Please welcome Mr.
Thank you, Keith. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, fellow speakers, ExCo members of MPA, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone can see the presentation right now?
No, it's not up yet.
Okay, hang on, yeah. It's up there?
Not yet.
Hang on. Sorry, yeah. Okay, now it's on?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So first of all, I'd like to thank MPMA for inviting me to share some thoughts on what collaborative robots are all about and how cobots could be used to help SMEs to embark on their smart manufacturing journey. Hopefully by the end of this presentation, you will be able to have a clearer picture of what cobots are and have a glimpse of why cobots will actually revolutionize manufacturing practices in the years to come. So for a start, smart manufacturing in Malaysia, especially the SME, let's look at a trend. I believe it's a topic that many people are talking about or have talked about, but few of them actually implemented such systems. And I guess it's fewer of them that will actually have really benefited from it. Why is it so? I think most of the SMEs today, they are faced with a dilemma. On one hand, SME can continue, some of them will continue wait and see. And if they do that, then you're faced with the possibility of being left out or lose out to competitors. On the other hand, most of them will start now, but they do not know how to actually start it, what are the right steps to start it, and also they could face the possibility of high costs with little tangible gains. So before we start into the details, let's basically understand a quick picture of what smart manufacturing is all about. I won't go into the detail, but I think the term smart manufacturing is a broad description of what Industry 4.0 is about. It's a technology-driven sort of approach to effective and efficient manufacturing, which is very similar to the scope that has been laid out and clearly defined in Industry 4.0. While the key focus of I 4.0 is mainly on data digitization, I'll call it in the layman's term, or data automation, where you have systems that will help you to automatically gather information, things like your industry, Internet of Things, your sensors. Then you have storage, like your cloud systems. You have analytics, and you have execution, like autonomous robotics and so forth as well. But what I'd like to highlight is actually, if you look at it on the picture, the foundation of Industry 4.0 is actually built on automation, computers and electronics, which is laid out in Industry 3.0. I believe you won't be able to get effective results via Industry 4.0 technology if your foundation on automation is not firm. And I think this is quite a case which is quite evidently observed in most SMEs in Malaysia. A simple analogy is that one could have a very accurate forecast of their production based on analytics done with Industry 4.0 technology from your customers' consumption behavior and so forth as well. But such information will be useless if you can't cope with the new demands when you're short of operators or your existing equipment is not agile enough to adapt to the new requirements. So now, I think most of the SME today, they face this question. It's a matter of where and how to start on the journey for Industry 4.0 or smart manufacturing. What I will do today is to share with you a pragmatic and doable approach, which can adopt as their first step towards smart manufacturing. Then I'll finish it off with two examples of how local manufacturers, SMEs, who have no previous knowledge or experience on robots are actually reaping benefits of 6x6 robots in less than 2 months. And then I'll also share an example of how they do it in China. Now, for a typical manufacturing setup, I think most of the cases here is that you will buy a few standard equipment. It could be your plastic injection machines, And these equipment are used for you to do mass automated production. Okay. And you definitely need operators to do your value adding services, such as your QC, your assembly, and your packing processes. Yeah. Providing such customized value-added services are important, yeah, for product differentiation and also competitiveness. And today, manufacturers not only need to mass produce, but also be able to provide mass customization and personalization to be different and to stay relevant to the new and ever-changing customers' demands. And ironically, most SMEs today are faced with labor shortage issue, you know, and the problem is aggravated by, you know, the COVID pandemic right now. So most of the large companies and MNCs, they are able to overcome the labor shortages by investing on custom-made automation or to use conventional industrial robots. However, such ways are sometimes expensive, and you need high volume to justify such investments. Most of such solutions are pretty specific. You know, automated custom-made automation are usually designed for a particular product or a particular process, and they are pretty rigid. In most cases, you require special knowledge and skills to own and maintain such machines or robots. Whereas if you look at the SME in Malaysia today, I believe they need automation which is affordable and scalable. They are safe to use. No, you won't get injured or killed by such machines. It's easy to learn, hence it will be easy to own and to maintain. You need automation which sometimes is contradictory, but you need automation which is flexible and agile as well. Now, if you look at the conventional industrial robots, for sure, it's one of many ways that you can use to address the shortages of workers. But for conventional industrial robots, for safety reasons, such systems have to be caged or to avoid direct interaction with operators. All right, and such arrangement could take up a lot of space and create not only a physical but also a psychological barrier between man and machine, and this subsequently will prohibit the understanding of machines by people. So, you know, machines will work by themselves, people will work by themselves, yeah, because you don't have a chance for them to interact. And because of that, you know, you have a case where only a few, you know, elite so-called robotic specialists are allowed to work with such robots. Yeah. Now, what if such safety cages can be removed and the robots can work side by side with operators in the same workspace? So the first commercial cobot or collaborative robots are called cobots was launched in 2008, and they are robots which has been designed and made safe to share workspaces and work together with operators without any barriers or cagings. Today, 13 years later, there are already more than 100,000 units of cobots in operation today around the world. So the key safety features actually opens up the door to a wide range of automation possibilities and flexibilities. Unlike conventional robots or automated systems, where one has to change, sometimes you need to change existing lines or processes to accommodate the robots. Cobots can be easily and quickly adapted to the existing production lines or machines in order to achieve maximum overall productivity. Yeah, so let's look at the key features of cobots. You know, why are they so unique? Yeah. First of all, because of their lightweight, you know, they are designed to be lightweight. They are designed to be easily mobile. So in cases, cobots could be put on push carts for flexible deployment. So you have a case when you put a robot to do a machine tending process in the morning, where you need operators to work together with them. Then you can actually take the robot and push it to somewhere to do, let's say, a bending process, a sheet metal bending process, where you have less supervision that is required, and you can let the robot work throughout the night for you. Okay, and then you have cases where robots are being mounted on autonomous mobile robots for automated workpiece pickup and transfer from one workstation to the next workstation. And in case there are cases right now with the COVID pandemic, we have people putting robots on collaborative robots on autonomous mobile robots for automated autonomous sanitization. Again, the cobots, can be mounted in various sort of configurations. You have a very flexible mounting possibilities. You can have a robot mounted on a column. You can robot mounted on a frame or existing machine chassis. And also it can be just invertedly mounted above a workstation to save space. And if you need to expand, the work scope of the robot, you can actually put a robot on a vertical column lifter to lift the robot vertically up and down to make use of the vertical space. We can mount a robot on a horizontal linear guide, where the robot could perform multiple tasks from one machine to another machine. And if it's necessary, you can actually mount it vertically up to save space, where again, the robot could perform tasks for different machines, or they could transfer workpiece from one machine to another. Cobots are, again, today with the technology of cobots, they are designed for easy and intuitive programming. You do not need, most of the cobots today, they do not need a person to know anything about robotic or experience to start programming. Yeah, most of the program structure are very intuitive and very user-friendly. You can actually teach robots by moving the robots to the required position. You have templates for standard applications like screwdriving, machine tending, and so forth. And because of all this, actually the deployment of cobots from design all the way to actual working is very, very fast. If you look at the range of equipment or tools, I call that, which you can actually plug and play, literally plug and play. That means mechanically you can just put on a robot and you download the software and you're ready to go. So such technologies like visions, cameras, grippers, ways of solve grippers, from fingers grippers to vacuum sections to soft fingers for your sensitive products, or to a soft hand, which actually mimic a motion of a hand, where you can actually use the same hand to pick up a saucepan, you screw up a light bulb, you can pull on the lever to start a car. Such technologies are actually available already. On the other side of it, you have tools which we can use for automated sanding, welding, screwdriving, and also dispensing. Yeah. Now, the future is actually now limited by one's imagination. That said, being done, there are other tools which you can actually do it by yourself. If you really know how to run the program, you can actually buy a standard gripper and put it on and so forth, and turn it into a solution. Now, if you looking forward, if you talk about I 4.0 related sort of applications, and if you just look at this part where it's actually doing dispensing, I think it will be a matter of time before someone will come out with a head similar to your 3D printer for plastic, or for what sort of a medium that you use for a 3D printer. And then you just get the robot to do a 3D printing of a product which could be as big or as large as you want, because you can actually mount the robot onto a linear guide or vertical column as well. All right.
Hi, Kingju, sorry. Hi, Kingju, you have 5 minutes more. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay. I'll do. And you know, it's all ready, Industry 4.0 ready as well, because you have a CPU, you have a robot arm, you have a HMI. All these are ready available. So compared to traditional automation, where you need different people to do different HMI, you need different people to do PLC, you need different people to do your electrical wiring. Today, all these are ready to use. Yeah, you just get the robot, learn how to use the right program, and you're ready to go for automation. So quickly, I'll share with you an example of how a local SME has actually got a cobot to retrofit an old plastic injection machine. You know, the Cartesian robot of the machine is already out of service. And the customer actually was thinking about how to do the workpiece extraction automatically. He could actually get another Cartesian robot to put it on, but the idea of having a flexible and mobile solution came to play. So we are able to integrate the robot onto the machine, and right now it's running. Yeah. So just a quick share of you on the video. It could be a very simple application, but that's the thing. So for that example, it's actually a very straightforward example. Today, there's another example which is for automated bolt and nut turning as well. So for traditional screw driving, the normal case is that you pick up the screw and you screw it onto a fixed tap hole. So that's the standard screw driving application. Yeah. But I've encountered a situation where the customer needs to tighten the bolt and nut together on the hole. And due to the nature of different layers of plastics, O-rings, and so forth, the position of bolt and nuts could actually vary up to +- 4 mm. And such inconsistency is actually a nightmare for any sort of automation sort of related project. Yeah. But then a cobot has a feature called force control features. You can actually get the robot to move by force and instead of by position. And because of that, the robot will be able to self-locate itself onto the new position of the screws. Yeah. So these are the advantages of using a cobot. All right. And I'll just show you the video. See how the robot is doing self-centering stuff. Yeah, even the initial stage where the position is out, but the robot is able to self-locate by itself the screws on bolts. And finally, how do they do it in China? Yeah. So you have this video where you have a manufacturer of plastic or bathroom accessories using more than 60 cobots in a factory. It's a very good example where you have machine plus cobots plus people giving you a very flexible and efficient manufacturing. You have in-house employees training robots to perform tasks. And this video actually has a lot of examples of how cobots could be utilized effectively and efficiently. Yeah. So we are running out of time, and also if you're interested, you can just go to YouTube, and you search for Universal Robots Salmon Runner. Okay. In conclusion, right? I think cobots today they are enabler for fast and flexible automation, and they actually empower people or everyone to start automating their processes. And it's the first step towards smart manufacturing, mass customization, and also agile manufacturing. Yeah. So in order to be, finally, this is one last point which I think I would like to highlight is, in order to be competitive, knowing how to use cobots effectively will soon become a necessity, not an option anymore. Okay, with this, I come to the final of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ng, for sharing us on cobots for our participants. I hope this has opened the eyes to everybody that this is right on our doorstep. Yeah. Okay. Moving on, last but not least, I'd like to introduce Mr. Chong from Kians, who will share with us today on how to reduce man hours in quality control operations. Please take it away. You can start now, Chong.
All right. So good day, everyone. I'm Chong with Kians, Malaysia. And thank you, MPMA, for inviting us. And today I will share on this how to reduce man hours in quality control operation. Right. So there are main two agenda today, which I will touch on what is the bottleneck in this quality control operation, and also what kind of solution that we have to tackle this bottleneck. All right, so there are many factors that could affect this dimension in this plastic injection molding process, such as mold temperature, cylinder temperature, cooling time, and etc. So to maintain this constant dimension, a periodic dimension measurement checking is very important. So in this market, there are a few measurement tools that are available, such as this optical comparator, or like this measuring microscope, or this optical CMM, or like a simple tools, for example, micrometer or caliper. So let's have a look how this conventional tools works. Right. So for example, this is a profile projector. And to measure parts with this profile projector, first we have to put a part on the stage and then zoom in and focus manually in order to get clear edge. And then to measure one dimension, we have to manually adjust the stage from one point to another point just to get a one dimension. So imagine if, let's say, one part we want to measure 20, 30 or more dimension, this could easily take more than 20, 30 minutes to just measure one part. And on top of these long measurement hours, the result is also inconsistent. This is because all the result is actually judged by human eyes, right? So this is how a profile projector works. And we also have this common equipment, optical CMM. So optical CMM can obtain a much consistent result because it's a machine judge. But due to the field of view is small, and in order to measure the whole piece, we also need to move the head from one point to another point just to capture all the dimension in one single part. So this moving around can also easily take more than 20 or 30 minutes to measure all the dimension in this product. Right. So looking at these conventional measurement tools, we can observe that one common problem that they have is very time consuming. So imagine you want to measure one part and they take more than 10 minutes, and there are 50 parts to measure in a day. This can easily take us more than 8 hours to measure this dimension in quality control operation. So it's very time consuming. So on top of that, result can also be inconsistent if we are using this manual measurement. This is due to we judge based on human eyes for this manual measurement. Then also it is complicated to use. So PNs, we actually designed this IM series to tackle this slow, inconsistent, and complicated to use issue, to make it fast and reduce the measurement time, and also obtain consistent result and also easy to use. So let me show you how this IM series can achieve this fast measurement time. All right, so for example, I want to measure this part, right? So before that, I have to make a program. And after I have this program, the next time I want to measure this product, right? What I do is I just place a part on the stage. And regardless of orientation, I just place it and press a button. And within a few seconds, we can measure all the dimension, right? So from just now, 20-30 minutes, we shorten it to just 3 seconds. So now I want to measure 3 parts at the same time. It is also possible. I just place it regardless of orientation, and I don't need to fix the location. I just place it, and system can capture the 3 parts at the same time and give me the result instantly. So normally using conventional tools, we may spend 30 minutes or 1 hour to measure 3 parts. Now with this IM series new technology, we can shorten the time to just less than 10 seconds. All right, so this is how we do the measurement on the true hole parts. And I believe in this plastic industry, we also have a lot of dimension that we need to check is the blind hole, which is a space dimension. Right, so in this IM series, not only we can measure the backlight, we also have top light to measure the surface dimension, right? So in this video, you can see the concept is the same. We just place a part on the stage. Then by using top light and the latest slit ring light, we can measure the object instantly with a good contrast of an image. So you can see compared to normal top light, this new lighting system can obtain a better contrast and give a more consistent result. Okay, so this is how we measure the surface dimension also in a few second times. And also in TN's this IM series, we also have this new system, we call it a rotary unit. So now in the dimension checking, for example, we want to measure the run out of this part, or we want to measure dimension from different plane. Now what we do is we have to turn the part manually. So using this new rotary system, the system can rotate the part 360 degrees and then measure all the dimension in one shot, such as the run out or the dimension between 2 different planes, right? Okay, and also for this dimension checking, it is quite usual that we want to check the dimension from different view. For example, from a top view, from the side view, and the bottom view. So this we have to manually flip the parts and in order to make measurement. But with this rotary unit, system can rotate the part 360 degrees and then combine the top view, side view, bottom view, and give the result instantly as well. Right. Okay, so and not only this rotary unit, with this new IM series, we are able to measure the height of the part as well. Right. So the concept is the same. System can recognize the shape of the object. Then by using touch probe, they can measure the height of the object and checking the height information. So with this, we also can know the flatness of your parts, and all is done within 10 seconds. All right, so this is basically how we do the repeat measurement. From 30 minutes to 1 hour, we can reduce it to just less than 10 seconds. Right, and after we know how to make this repeat measurement, we want to know how to make the program. This program is also relatively easy compared to conventional method. Right, let me show you how IM series perform this program. Okay, so for example, to measure make a program on this part. And let's say I want to program this diameter. What I do is I just select the circle, and then system can extract the edge automatically for me. Then the next, I just key in the tolerance for this particular dimension. Right. So for example, to measure the angle of the parts, and instead of moving my head from one unit, from one area to another area, we can see the whole piece in one shot. Therefore, make the programming very easy and very fast. So for example, to measure the radius, and you notice I don't have to select the edge by myself. System will judge the edge based on these changes of contrast. So detect the point from here, then they can draw a fitting line on this radius. And also other simple dimensions such as the line to line distance, we also can measure by this. And not only this simple dimension, we also can check the virtual tools, for example, the bisector of this area. And also we can set the coordinate. For example, this is an x-axis, this is a y-axis. Then I got my origin. And I can proceed to GD&T function, such as checking the roundness, the profile, the position. Right, now I'm checking the position by refer to this datum point. And I also can check the concentricity of these two circles and get the result from this. So this is basically how we make the program. So the time spent on this making program is also very short compared to conventional method, due to the field of view of IM series is very big. So you can see this this part is around 50 mm, and IM series can see the whole piece in one shot, thus making the programming easy, straightforward, and also fast, right? Okay, so this is how we make the program, and I show you how we make the program, how we perform repeat measurement. So now I want to show you how can we obtain the data after we do this measurement. All right, so the data is also very easy. After you measure, all the data actually can be exported to the customized format in your Excel sheet. Right, let me show you a video how can we transfer this automatically. All right, so for example, I'm performing a measurement on these parts, and I'm linking it to my computer with a customized Excel sheet. So once I measure, automatically the data will be transferred to this customized Excel in my computer. And for the second piece, again, I just place it there, regardless of orientation. Then within a few seconds, result is out, and they will transfer to this customized Excel instantly. Right, so this is how we perform the data management. And basically, this is how our IM series works, from a very fast measurement and also easy programming and also easy data management. Right, so in summary, we can reduce the measurement time and measure it in just seconds. Right, so we can reduce the man-hour spent compared to conventional method by 90%. Right. Then also on top of that, there's no operator errors because we measure by using machine checking. There's no human judgment. And also we can measure multiple pieces, many cavity together at the same time without any jig to fix the location. Right, so this can even more save more time. And also we have this contact-based measurement on top of a video measurement to make measurement at a specific height. For example, this area, to check the dimension at a specific height, then this can be done as well in this latest technology. Then other than that, we also have this height measurement by using touch probe. We are able to get the height information, including this flatness. All right, so we also have this rotary unit, like I shown in the video just now, that we are able to rotate the part 360 degrees, performing a run-out checking, and also check a different view, combine all the program into one dimension program. And so in conclusion, IM series, we can combine like a profile projector, optical CMM, a caliper into this one single unit. At the same time, we can greatly reduce this man-hour spent in QC checking. And I hope you find this informative, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chong, for sharing your IM series. We now move on to our Q&A session. Unfortunately, Muhammad from PSDC has to attend to another matter. He has to leave. So let's start with the first question. Okay, the first question for our speakers today. Let's pull it up. A question from Mr. Ng regarding your cobots, asked by one of our participants today. He asking how much or the price of entry for a cobot.
Okay, thanks, thanks, Keith. To answer that, I guess if you talk about just general price range, some of the robots today starts. I mean, it depends on size. All right. Number one, it depends on size. It depends on the brand. It depends on how much features do you need. For sure, the entry level starts about, I would say, about 60,000 ringgit for a small unit. Maybe those who are made in China. And it can go all the way up to about 180 or 200,000 ringgit as well. All right. But my advice to first-time user, for example, you have not used any cobots or robots before. My advice is you look for a model which has enough support here in Malaysia. That means they provide you good support. And number two, it has enough features for you to do things quickly for your first project. All right. Once you master that, once you already master how to use the robot, once you're familiar how to use cobots for your application, then for sure you will be able to look for a cheaper or more specific type of cobots. Yeah. And in that way, then you will be able to shop for cobots which are cheaper or lower cost. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to our next question. For Mr. Chong from Kians, I think Mr. Eddie Fong was asking, how much is it for the IM series of equipment to measure up to 100 millimeters, and how accurate will the measurements be?
Yeah, how much in terms of pricing? We have different models for this IM series. So the price range is around 180 ringgit Malaysia to 250 ringgit Malaysia, 180k to 250k ringgit Malaysia, and then for the accuracy is up to 2 micron.
What about for the series of say up to 100 millimeters? Maybe a rough bracket for participant here today.
You mean the accuracy, right?
For the pricing for, let's say, up to 100 millimeters.
It's around 200k ringgit Malaysia.
Move on to our next question. Do you have any or is the IM series able to capture color variants, surface texturing, or even logo shape from what you call printing?
If you are talking about checking the dimension of the logo, then definitely no problem. We can check the dimension. If you want to differentiate the color, whether this is red, this is yellow or blue, then IM series is not able to do that. Right. Mainly we are focused on dimension checking.
Do you have recommend any range from Kians that can maybe automatically check color variants as well as what we call surface texturing?
Yes, we have this equipment. We call it a vision system.
Do you want to maybe share with our participant today what range they should look for, or who to, or maybe you leave your contact details at the end and they can contact you individually as well?
No problem. Should I leave my contact details in the chat box?
Yeah, I think we can do that for our participants. If they are interested, maybe they can share with or reach out to you directly. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Back to you, Mr. Chong. I think they really like your Kians products.
Thank you.
Do you have any visual inspection for large or big objects? Maybe CC Chia here can specify for us how big is big for Chong here. What's the largest size that your IM series can cater?
Okay, so the largest size that we can cater is A4 paper size, 300 mm times 200 mm.
Okay, she has got back to us. I think there's a plastic pallet size, the wooden pallet, plastic pallet, that kind of size.
It's 1.2 meters, Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.2 meter. I'm afraid that we cannot measure because it's too big for IM series.
Okay, next question from Mr. Tong from TriPlus. No, to Mr. Ng. May I know the current payload capacity and reach for your universal robots?
Okay. So right now, if we talk about payload, all right, the maximum payload, you have a unit called UR16, which can take up to 16 kilo of payload. But the reach, I believe, is only about 900 millimeters. All right. Then you have another model, which is called a UR10. That model has a payload up to 12.5 kilo, and it has a reach of 1.35 meters. So that's what we say the biggest models under the UR range.
Thank you for sharing. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Tong. I don't think we have any more questions, but there's a question, there's a comment actually from Eddie that said that training people first and implementing technology will take too long. Can we employ technology and also at the same time use the equipment with the new technology to train and teach people concurrently? I'd like to direct this to Mr. Lion, if you're here. What is your comment on instead of training the people first, we do it, I think, concurrently, we do it in parallel. What's your take on that?
I think if you need to train the people from traditional production model to a new digital production model, and that would be no choice. You have to train it up on job training and let them to touch the data, how to generate the data, and what is related to their performance. You have no choice to take time to train them up. But you also can use some new technology like the augmented reality, like the mixed reality device in assembly training, or some cobot work together and with some virtual image training together with some new technology. But that would be more expensive to trade off the time. Actually, I think if you really want to have a knowledge worker, you have to set up the program and let your staff to develop their capability in a period of time. Yeah, this is my opinion.
Thank you for sharing, Lion. We have a few more questions. I think they also quite like your cobots, Mr. Ng. As for cobot, what is the service life and the expected frequency to service your I believe, universal robots?
Yep. Okay. So basically, what they have done for UR is they have get data from the field, from a service field, and it has been known that for cobots, especially this UR, there are cases where you can run for 4 years, 24/7, yeah, without having to do any maintenance at all. For 4 years, 24/7, you do not need to do maintenance, yeah. All right. As far as service life is concerned, you got robots which has been running for more than 10 years. Because actually, if you talk about the oldest cobots, it was launched in 2008. So maybe the oldest one is about 13 years old. But there are cases where robots that has been running for more than 10 years. So they have not reached the end of the life yet. Yeah. But as far as service is concerned, it is very, they are designed to be long lasting in the certain ways as well, simply because most of these robots, they have built-in force sensors. So there's very little chance that the robot will damage itself, because when it hits something or you put too much weight on it, the robot will stop and say, sorry, I can't do the job. So with this sort of features is actually to a certain extent extend your life and also the service frequency required for the cobots.
Thank you. I think this also answers your question, Muhyiddin. Is the cobot maintenance free? I think you're saying basically maintenance free up to a certain point.
Yes, exactly. That's how they designed the cobots to be. Surprisingly, I was shocked as well when I actually came across this fact. But it's known throughout the world that I wouldn't say 100%, but I believe a majority of those robots are being run that way. Yeah. All right. For sure, over time, I would say I do not know the numbers. But when wear and tear comes in, then you have backlash issues. All right, so that's something that you cannot run away. Again, it depends on how accurate your application is required and over how many frequency. Not so much of time, but how fast or the number of frequency of your particular robot. Yeah.
Okay, let's continue the conversation on the cobots. Some of them have quite specific applications they have in mind. For example, can it be used to stick and paste a sticky tape onto a plastic surface? A very specific application, but what do you think of the implementation?
Yes, the answer for that is yes. I know where the question is coming from, because sticking of tape is a known technology. It's already available. You just need to put a tape applicator onto a machine, and you can actually dispense it onto the product directly. But the problem starts when your workpiece is complicated. It could be rounded. It could be many surfaces and things like that. And that's why you need the flexibility of applying the robot to maybe different places of your workpiece. You cannot afford to buy 6 applicators, and that's where the cobot comes in. So it's a combination of using the cobot with a label dispenser, and then you program the robot to dispense the label onto specific areas that you want it to do. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, I think if you want to reach for more specific applications, perhaps you could reach out to Mr. Ng after this webinar session. Yeah.
Sure. Or another easier way to do it is actually you go to YouTube, you search for universal robot and say, glue dispenser or label applicator. Then you'll be able to see quite a lot of examples of how they are being used to do that sort of particular application. Yeah.
Okay. Julie Un from Amico, I believe. Mr. Ng, do you recommend using of the cobots for high mix and low volumes? What are your thoughts?
That's specifically what the cobots are meant to do, actually. And as I put on my presentation, you buy one cobot, but you can actually use the one cobot for many applications here. All right. You can time your scheduling in such a way that you can run something with the robot in the morning, change the tool, and you use the same robot but different tool at night. Or you can, let's say your order, it's one month is this, the next month is a different product. Again, you can actually use the robot, same robot, but with different tools for different application. And also that brings up another point. Very important point is traditionally, if you want to calculate ROI for automation equipment, your ROI is actually tied down to a particular product, tied down to a particular process. But for the case of UR, it's no. Actually, the ROI is indefinite, because after you use the robot for one particular product, all you need to do is change the tools and you can use the robot for something else.
Thank you, thank you. I believe that answers the question of robots being used for high mix, low volume. I believe as long as you have the personnel trained, they can change the use of the robots without relying on perhaps high-level engineers.
And that's right, Keith. I think you just put a nail onto it. That's what a cobot is for. Yeah? It's actually empowering people to do your own automation. Probably the first step or the second step, you need some guidance. But after that, once you get the hang of it, you should be able to do any sort of automation projects by yourself. Today is a matter of whether you want or you don't want. Yeah, it's not so much of whether you can or cannot. It's a matter of whether you want or you don't want.
Thank you, thank you. So I don't think we have any more questions from the participants. Anyone else have any more last questions for our distinguished guests and speakers today? If not, I think we can end the Q&A session. But before everyone else leaves, I would like to hand over the session of today's session back to Sujata.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you so much. Okay, before we go to the next part of the webinar, I just want to run some polls. This is to enable us to understand, for example, how did we fare in terms of the PLASTECH month? How was the webinar? How do you feel the speakers and their presentations were? So please take just, I think there are only 8 questions to this in total. Please just take maybe 3 minutes to quickly answer the questions on the screen right now. Yeah, just give you about 3 minutes. After that, we will go into the closing. And after that, we will take a group photograph with all the speakers. So speakers, please stay back, don't end the call. And we will end today's webinar. 3 minutes. Thank you.
The screen doesn't respond.
The screen doesn't respond. It's responding on my end. I cannot respond in your end because you're a panelist.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Eddie Fong. Only participants can do this, right? Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Can I plug in a short word? I think the panelists, the speakers have done very well today, and I'm so glad that so many stayed until now to ask questions and so on. So yeah, I really hope that that the next 8 more webinars will be as good as this, and I'm sure they will be. The speakers are all excellent experts in their field. So those of you who are here still, if you're deciding whether to join some other sessions, do so, because I think some of the speakers we have are so excellent that you won't hear them, in many conferences. This is brought to you so conveniently. It's FOC. So as chairman, I'm so happy to see that it's so successful.
Mr. Eddie, switch on your video so that we can see your handsome face.
Oh, sorry.
By the way,
Eddie, okay, I just want to add on here. I've been listening to the presentations, and again, I'd like to echo what Eddie has said. You guys have really done well. I think that's very informative, and I'm sure the participants have appreciated. So on behalf of the MPMA, I also like to extend my gratitude and thanks to the speakers. You guys have done very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lim. Thank you so much. Okay, in terms of the poll, we have 64 who have answered out of our 443 participants. So participants, don't be shy. Nobody will know who is answering. If you want to bash us up, it's also okay. But then please take this opportunity to feedback to MPMA so that we can improve for our future conferences, virtual conference or physical conference. Please, I'll just give this another 30 seconds. Just 8 questions on the screen, and then we'll go to the next part.
I think for our speakers today, Mr. Chong has already left his contact details. Maybe Mr. Ng, do you want to leave it for our participants today as well? So for our participants, you can refer to the chat box for the contact details of two of our speakers today.
Okay, poll is going at 68. Come on, we have 142 here. A few more minutes. Everybody who has not answered, please just click away. Thank you. It's going up. Okay, we have exceeded our 3 minutes. Miles, I think we will end the poll so that I can go to the, yeah, thank you, Melati. Once again, I want to, thank the speakers, Keith, Lion, Muhammad, who has left the session because he has another meeting, Kengju, Chong, for taking this time to, speak at this webinar. Because when planning an event such as this, there's 9 webinars, it's massive. It's very imperative to gain the participation of the experts in their field. Just as what Dr. Lim echoed, Mr. Adifun echoed, your willingness to share your time and expertise in this area, of digital transformation for SMEs was just critical to the success of this webinar. And with all our heart and on behalf of the organizing committee, a big thank you from us from MPMA and the organizing committee. Thank you so much. You can hear that. So speakers, please switch on your cameras. Secretariat staff, please do so that we can take the photograph and post it on our social media, Instagram, Facebook. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. From now on, we will be promoting all our events on Instagram and Facebook. So please watch out for this information. So, okay, thank you. Before I take the shot, that's it for everybody. Okay, thank you, Chan. Wrong backdrop. Okay, sorry. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thanks again. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks
See
for
you all next Tuesday, yeah? Okay, bye-bye.
Tuesday, 1 week from now, after Diwali. Yes.
Yeah.
Happy Diwali to those
Thank you. Bye-bye. Don't celebrate, but thank you. Yeah.